everyone, this is Amanda Borchel-Dan.
And I'm Jessica Steinberg,
your host for Times Will Tell,
a weekly podcast from the Times of Israel. Hello, Times Will Tell listeners. It's Jessica Steinberg, and I'm here this week with Adam Duritz, lead singer of the Counting Crows, the band that he was a founding member of and has been the main composer of since it was established in 1991. Counting Crows have sold over 20 million records. They've been nominated for 2 Grammys, and they're finally playing in Israel, a place that Adam Duritz spent time in as a teen and hasn't visited since. Their concert is Wednesday night in Ra'anana, just outside of Tel Aviv. And Adam Duritz had just landed on Sunday morning when we spoke, and here he is. Welcome, Adam Duritz, to The Times Will Tell. This is the Times of Israel podcast, and we are very honored to have you with us. And we appreciate you squeezing us into what I know is a busy schedule ahead of your Wednesday night performance in Ra'anana, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to.
I know I am. I'm very excited to play someplace we've never played before.
It's hard to believe. Obviously, there's been a lot of preview interviews with you that you came here and you worked on a kibbutz when you were 18 and you came back to Jerusalem and did a little studying in the Holy City. But it has been quite a few decades since you've been in Israel, correct?
4, I would think. About 4. Yeah, it's been a really long time.
Okay.
And you haven't really gotten to see anything yet. Are you planning on traveling around for the next couple of days, or are you going to lay low and hang out at the beach?
Well, I'd like to get a chance to travel around. I really want to go back to Jerusalem because that was someplace I really loved when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know. It depends on what kind of press and stuff they have us doing. That's the only thing that's going to take up the time, except for our gear. Our A gear has all been in a locker in Liverpool for a year now. So we kind of have to go through that and make sure. We have to do some pre-rehearsal with the band and the crew to make sure all the gear's okay. So.
It got sent over for a concert that got canceled, correct? And now you're basically doing the tour that you meant to do a while back because of COVID.
I decided to leave it over there rather than bring it back because on the risking that we would be able to reschedule the tour. And we were able to. I didn't want to bring everything back over, so I left it over there because, especially nowadays, all the expenses for bands prices haven't gone up at all, but the expenses are all doubled or tripled. Freight, airlines, flights, hotels, freight for your gear, all that is double or triple what it was. And we're on the same thing, so I didn't want to waste the money by bringing it all back. So we got to do that at some point. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to do, and hopefully I'll get to do some of them, but part of touring is realizing that the gig is everything.
That's sort of the challenge that you have. How is this tour going? I know that you were touring the U.S., and now you're Europe, and you hopped over to Israel, and then you go back, and you have a lot of tour dates all over Europe. What does it feel like to be touring again?
It's cool. This is the first gig of the sort of European tour, so we haven't done that part yet. But the shows in America, we did a whole tour last summer, and we've been playing gigs off and on this year. It's all been really cool. It's nice to be back playing.
You've mentioned in a few interviews that it's been 30 years since your first album, and that you feel, I guess, in a sense of privilege, I don't want to put words into your mouth, that you guys are still together and that you perform to these huge shows, fans that are really excited to see you.
Not so much that we're still together, but that people are still coming out to see us. You always worry about that because the shelf life of a band is very short, but especially after, 2 years layoff, you really wonder whether things are going to pass you by, But we're still here.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was it like getting back onto those stages, in the middle of, when COVID was sort of quieter, this summer, last summer? What is it like getting back together, working together, performing together?
Oh, it's the same as it's always been. It's just
performing.
It's nice to play. I think when you're in a band, that was the longest I've ever gone without playing. That period during COVID, in my entire adult life, I've never gone that long between gigs. So it was very strange.
That's pretty amazing. That must be incredibly strange. And something that I sort of keep thinking about is, you've got these, obviously there are certain songs that are so familiar, so popular, make people happy. Mr. Jones, Big Yellow Taxi, Round Here. What is it like when you play these songs that are beloved by your fans, but which you guys have to keep on churning out all the time? What is it like to play those songs over again, knowing that your crowd wants to hear them, but knowing that maybe there's other things that you want to focus on more, or maybe not? Maybe those are the songs you always want to bring to your audience.
If I want to play something else, I would just play it. I think there's nothing that has to get played every night. The only song that we play every night is A Long December. And that's because for some reason, that's the only song I never, ever get sick of. I don't think there's ever been a night where I didn't want to play that song. I don't know why that is, but I'm never tired of it. Everything else, if there's a night where I don't want to play it, I'm not going to play it. Because I think it would suck to play songs that you don't want to play,
Really? You would do that to the audience? You would do that to the fans? Not play Mr. Jones, for instance?
Oh, yeah. There's been lots of nights where we didn't play Mr. Jones. I love that song. I love Mr. Jones. But I want to keep loving Mr. Jones. I don't want to hate the song. And I would think the quickest way to hating your own music is to play it on nights when you don't want to play it,
Yeah, that would kind of make sense to me as well. Interesting, given that you've had this long-standing connection to Israel, that it took so long to get back here.
Bands want to go everywhere. So the only reason, but you can't go anywhere unless you have a promoter making you an offer that makes sense.
Sure.
The fact is there's probably nowhere in the world we don't really want to go. But you just can't go until a promoter gives you the right kind of offer. And I don't know that we've had those in the past. This offer was really good. The moment I heard it, I said, absolutely, let's do it. It's taking care of a lot of our European tour because some of the other gigs in Europe are smaller, not as well paying, some of them. This is a great gig. I mean, I'd like to be able to come back here every few years because it's to know that to go to a new country and find out that you have an audience where you can go right and play a 6,000 seat arena right off the bat, that's fantastic. I mean, not an arena, an amphitheater. So, I mean, I don't know about the past, but I don't really remember offers from Israel. The only thing I can say is as soon as I heard this offer, I said, absolutely, let's do it.
Okay.
Because I love it here.
We're going to take a quick break from my conversation with Adam Duritz, lead singer of the Counting Crows, and we'll be back soon.
Hey, podcast listeners. As you know, Israeli cooking is taking the world by storm. Now, here's your chance to join in. The Times of Israel is excited to present our new virtual cooking series, B'tei Avon, where expert chefs show you how to make classic and modern Israeli dishes. After you join the Times of Israel community, you'll have the opportunity to ask live questions to a series of well-known chefs such as Susie Fishbein and the Challah Prince. Can't make it to a live session? The workshops are recorded for you to watch at your leisure. TOI community members get exclusive access to all previous recordings and future sessions. To participate, join the Times of Israel community. There's a link to join on our homepage and every single page on the site. Enjoy!
We're back with Adam Duritz of the Counting Crows. I know that you haven't started your European leg first, but it's always a little bit of a pain to come to Israel because of the fact that you have to schlep everything over here and then schlep it back to Europe. You're not playing in the countries that surround Israel, of course. You're not going to Egypt. You're not going to Jordan, not going to Syria or Lebanon. You didn't get hit with any boycott sanctions. You didn't get hit with any criticism of coming to play in Israel.
No, the only places I really heard about it were in the interviews. But I mean, I will say that I've been pretty isolated this year. Because of COVID, I haven't been out and about very much. Also, we're not exactly the center of the culture right now, so maybe it would be different in that situation. I don't know. But I also I'm a Jew. I understand the long tradition of everything is the Jews' fault. I don't really buy it.
All right.
So talk about that a little bit now that you brought it up. What is it like to come back here and to bring your people, to bring Counting Crows, to bring your people, to bring your band, to bring your bandmates to this place that you connected with a long time ago? What does that feel like?
It feels pretty cool. That's a really long time ago for me. So, but there's some pretty powerful memories. I just think for the band, in a lot of ways, you expect your career to be shrinking. You expect to play less and less places every year. So a year where you can come and play more places, to go someplace new for the first time. I don't think any of the guys in our band, except for me, have been here before, which is pretty rare. This tour, we actually have 3 cities we've never played: Helsinki and Warsaw and Tel Aviv. And that's kind of great. It's the opposite direction you expect things to go in the later years of your career, so that always makes me really happy. Especially, if considering, how big the crowd could be here for us, it's someplace we could come back to.
Could you share a memory?
I was a kid. I went through the Sinai. It was still part of Israel back then. I got to hike all through Sinai. That was great. I spent a lot of time in Jerusalem. It was very, very powerful for me, that city, especially the old city. I worked on a kibbutz for a little while. Worked in an apple orchard. I dug crap out of a grain silo. I really enjoyed the work, and it's funny because it kind of prepared me in some ways, because that kind of physical work is what I ended up doing to support myself all the years when I was, in the band at first and in different bands. I was a landscaper and I did construction work, I went after college and during college, and I think one of the reasons I knew that I was okay doing that kind of work is that I had done it. I had done it over here. I'd gotten up really early in the morning and done hard work all day. And that's kind of how I ended up supporting myself in the early days before the band was successful. But the first place I really did a lot of that was on the kibbutz here. I went back again a couple years later when I was 18 and pretty much just spent time in Jerusalem that time. A lot of it was also that I was a kid and I liked getting wasted, and there was no drinking age over here, and I thoroughly appreciated that at the time.
Yes, that was then. Now is a little bit different, but yeah. I don't know if this is too much of a stretch, but are there any of those early moments and early memories that made their way into your music at any point? Or is there any connection there between what you experienced and what you later started creating?
Well, I think there's a lot of places where my struggle with religion and faith shows up in my music, and that certainly was a part of my time here.
Right. Obviously, it's a pretty common theme, coming to Israel, coming to Jerusalem, struggling with where you are in terms of faith, whatever faith you might be. Now that you're back here, and of course you're here for work and you're here to perform and to do, to give interviews and to maybe see a little bit of this country that you haven't seen in a while. But do you find that it tugs at you in a certain way, or not at all? All that is sort of in your past.
Well, there are things about the country that tug at me a lot.
Like?
Just the history and what the part it plays in my own history, being a Jew. That's a pretty powerful thing for any Jew. Being here is a very, intoxicating in that way. It is a very heady liquor. For Israel is a heady liquor for Jews, I would say. But no, the religion doesn't tug at me. I'm past believing in things like that.
Yeah, but the place, the scenery, what you're seeing outside your window, what you see when you drive from the airport, those kinds of things, the people on the street.
Well, not as much from the airport to Tel Aviv, but just the knowledge of what it is and my memories of, especially of Jerusalem. Maybe if I went over to Yaffo, to the older parts of town. But I also think that just the knowledge of, the city looks a lot like a construction zone right now. It's got this, it's incredibly beautiful out the window looking at the beach. but between me and the beach is a construction zone. I guess they're putting in a rapid transit system. I remember when they did that in LA. That always tears up your town for a bit, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like also it's a country full of Jews as opposed to being one in a crowd, as you are in the rest of the world. In the rest of the world, you're one in a crowd, and here you are the crowd. And that's a unique thing,
Mm-hmm. Are you brushing up on any Hebrew for the show? Are we going to hear any?
Yeah, if people are talking, I'll say sheket. That's all I remember. Sheket b'vachasha. I don't remember. I remember Ken and Lo. I remember Shalom, which means aloha. I don't remember most of my Hebrew. I could sort of speak it back then, but I don't remember very much of it now.
Yeah. I hear you. But the crowd, sometimes they love it. They love it when some beloved singer comes their way and throws a little shalom and a little even sheket b'vakasha. I think they'll be happy on Wednesday night to hear that as well. Where are you in terms of new songs, in terms of new work? I know obviously COVID, as we keep on saying, has been such a struggle for bands. Sometimes it's great for being inspired, and sometimes has made it really difficult. Where is Counting Crows in terms of new music? Are we going to hear any?
Well, I had written a second suite, but I threw it out. I heard my friend sent me his. The same time I was writing the suite, like last year in England, I sang on my friend's record, and he sent me their record before it came out. They're this band called Gang of Youths. They have a new record called Angel in Real Time, and when I listened to it, it was so good that for the first time, literally the first time in my entire career, I thought, oh, these songs aren't good enough, and I threw them out. So I have to rewrite.
Oh, man.
I'm reworking some of it, but it just wasn't. His record was so much better, and that's not good enough. So.
Okay. But the point is that you're working. The point is that it's out. You're going to produce more. We're going to hear more new music. You guys are going to keep on going for hopefully a very long time.
The chances of us finding other jobs are pretty slim. So, yeah, stick with this one.
Well, you said landscape and construction. You can always, there's always something to fall back on, right?
I'm not falling back to that on that. I'm sticking with my job. I loved it at the time, but I'm glad. I like my new job better.
Okay. Well, right. The new job that you've, been carrying out for a while, happily, for quite a few decades. Excellent. Well, we really thank you for being with us, Adam Duritz. It's great to have you here in Israel, and looking forward to hearing you on stage on Wednesday night, and hoping you have just a great trip and that you get to do a few things and see a few places that you want to see while you're here. Absolutely.
I hope so, but the main thing I really wanted to do was play here. So one way or another, I'll get it all. I really wanted to play here. So.
Okay.
All right, and now you're doing it. We've been waiting, and now you're here, which is an excellent thing. So good luck. Have fun on Wednesday night. And when you say sheket b'vakasha to the crowd, they will laugh, I am sure, with appreciation.
Thanks.
All right. Take care. Have yourself a good day.
Thanks so much for listening to Times Will Tell from the Times of Israel. And thanks to our producer, Gilad Brownstein.
Please subscribe wherever you find your podcasts, and check out our daily briefing news show every Sunday through Thursday.
Like what you hear? Consider rating us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to spread the word.
Until next week.
Shalom.